Hey man, it's the 90s. This is Common Filth Radio, episode 90. Thank you very much for listening. On Bandcamp, commonfilthradio.bandcamp.com, the new episode of Common Filth Extra is available, and it is the longest episode of Common Filth Extra yet. You can find that on commonfilthradio.bandcamp.com. $1 minimum payment. You can pay more if you want, but you don't have to. Longest episode ever. It is very good. I talk about my detractors. I talk about a word that I'm not allowed to repeat here, and it's in reference to my detractors, so trust me, it is an excellent episode. I put a lot of effort, a lot of time into it. You will enjoy it. And I enjoy my followers. I have some of the best followers in the world because they send me so many wonderful things that really help me sleep at night. It's great, and this is one of them. This is called from something called Porn Studies 2016. Forum, pornophilia, porn gifs, fandoms, circuitries, Tumblr, porn archive, always on the move. And it goes like this. Since signing up for a Tumblr account 2 years ago, checking my dashboard, a personalized media feed has become part of my daily morning routine. Because Tumblr is a self-tailored platform that allows subscribers to pick and choose who/what they follow, everyone's dashboard will look a little bit different. I follow a few media sources, Vice, Reuters, and The New Yorker. Some comedy ones, The Onion, George Takei, and Tastefully Offensive, and a variety of gay and film-related resources. Fuck Yeah Drag Race, Grindr Diary, Homo in Motion, and the National Film Society, accounting for about 10% of my dashboard's feed. The other 90% is taken up by porn, lots, and lots of all sorts of mostly gay porn. No longer a discrete entity, porn is woven into the fabric of the digital media assemblage, an integral part of our daily media consumption, sometimes more so than traditional sources. Every day, instant coffee in hand, I log into my dashboard and voluntarily submit myself to a sexual trance. Unblinking and mouth agape, I stare at an endless stream of beautiful men, tenderly embracing and showing off their cocks, of assholes being pampered, probed, and kissed, of pulsating piston-like thrusting that I can almost feel inside my own body, and orgasmic facial close-ups of mouths so wide open, I can practically hear them moaning in ecstasy. Thanks for that description, that very detailed description, you piece of garbage, you piece of filth, you piece of human refuse. Look, if you don't think this is a problem, you think that I talk about this too much, you are not paying attention. Like I said before, people are controlled by their dicks and their vaginas and their assholes. They care about nothing else. Anything can happen, but if you interfere with their ability to pleasure those things, all of a sudden, everyone becomes a revolutionary, everybody becomes an activist, everybody becomes a protester. They view their slavery to their vices as freedom. We have rearranged the inherent order of creation in our own perverse image. And you're going to tell me that I spend too much time criticizing this. You don't spend enough time paying attention. Or you spend too much time engaging in this yourself, which, given the present state of the internet right-wing intelligentsia, nothing really surprises me anymore. And the person who wrote about the virtues of gay porn on their Tumblr dashboard, they're probably a leftist. So if this is a commonality you see on both sides of the political spectrum, the common denominator must be something completely different. And this ties in with the theory I've been thinking about for the last year. Go back to, episode 48. And on that episode, I believe I said white people are infected with demons. This takes up all of their energy, attention, imagination. This is what captures it. And I was looking at a video art festival in New York. And I was looking at the demo trailer, whatever you want to call it, that they did for last year. And half the clips were, ooh, look, nude people swimming around, a girl having sex with a guy in a crown of thorns. Oh, we're so subversive. We're so offensive and shocking. Do it with Muhammad next time, you fucking whore. Let's see what happens. Let's find out. You're such a brave artist. But this theory has to do with tribes and their civilizations. And I'm talking about tribes as they relate to Noah's day. Noah's sons, Japheth, Shem, and Ham. The Shemites, or the Semites as we know them now, they were the first. Jews, Arabs, they were the first. They were the first to arrive. They were the first to establish a civilization. And their civilization was also the first to die. Their civilizations are the animated dead. Sure, their people, their descendants, they're still living, but look at how they behave themselves. Look at how they hoard wealth. I have a little bit of information about Saudi oil money, Arab oil money, new money. I have a little bit of information about where that money goes and who's taking it. But we'll get into that later. We're talking about the sons of Shem, and now we're talking about the sons of Japheth, who say great things like this. Another thing that I despise about Christianity is that it destroyed traditional modes of cuckoldry. While the ancient Spartans allowed younger and more fit men to impregnate their wives, the disgusting Judaic cult of Christianity unnecessarily demonized this perfectly natural desire and degenerated it. Christianity, therefore, directly led towards modern interracial cuck porn. And I don't know if this is sincere or not, but as we know, today's irony is tomorrow's sincerity. And this is a similar notion to one I reveal on Common Filth Extra episode 22. People defending the unconventional traditionalism of Spartan man-boy love, Roman man-boy love. And if young white men aren't interested in committing abominations, they are interested in allowing their women to be their albatross. Take the story of Samson and Delilah, one of many stories about the downfall of Shemite civilization in the Old Testament. You see, when we use the word degenerate, that implies that whoever we're calling degenerate, if it's a person, if it's a tribe, if it's a people, if it's a nation, that assumes that whatever we are talking about existed in a higher place prior to engaging in that behavior. So keep these words in mind, store it, save it, when I'm criticizing certain behaviors committed by certain groups. Because they really should know better. The hoarding of wealth, the capitulation to feminine whim, the predisposition towards abomination, that is the current trajectory of Japheth civilization. This was sent to me. It's a few Drudge Report headlines from a variety of different time periods, and I'll read a few of them. Preacher arrested for saying homosexuality is sin, May 3rd, 2010. TV, Swedes have more and more animal sex, January 29, 2004. So, it's been a long time coming. Swedish downfall. Judge says incest may no longer be taboo, July 10, 2014. NYC's sex ed curriculum includes porn and bestiality, October 24, 2011. School punishes boy for opposing homosexuality, September 23, 2011. Top Hollywood director embraces incest, September 10, 2012. University offers negotiating successful threesomes, September 30th, 2014. Elementary school uses transgender clownfish to teach children about gender, May 25th, 2011. White preschoolers believe they can grow up to become black adults, May 19, 2016. Book defending pedophilia for sale on Amazon. That is from November 10, 2010. And we'll finish off with this one. There's a lot more. Young kids encouraging each other to consider sex change from December 28, 2015. And we all know all about that from the 10 Vine marathons I've put up on this channel. All forms of life-destroying confusion. And it's encouraged. It is encouraged in Western civilization, Japheth civilization. And many people are very hostile towards the solution. Those who express a lot of anger towards me, those that express a lot of hatred towards me when I talk about religion, and I talk about it positively, are whites. Because we live in a secular society where religious views are expected to be held privately. A secular society that produces Swedes having sex with animals. A secular society that produces books about defending pedophilia. We find these things less offensive than religion. This was posted by a member of our subreddit, a reader of our subreddit. After I had mentioned this, Instagram models whoring themselves out to Saudi new oil money guys. Saudi sheiks pay Instagram models so they can literally shit on their faces. And it's a link to a Return of Kings article, which was written in March 2015, if I'm not mistaken. You have to read this if you haven't already. Women whoring themselves out so they can show the world how many Chanel bags they own and get around 5,000 likes from people they don't know. If tag, and this is a quote from the article, if Tag the Sponsor, which is the website tagthesponsor.com that documents all of this depravity, if Tag the Sponsor doesn't convince you that we've slid all the way to Gomorrah, nothing will. Here we have an entire class of women who are so lacking in decency that they'll shove salmon up their vaginas so they can afford to shop at Saks Fifth Avenue. A civilization where women sell themselves, not even to survive but for frivolous luxury items, is a civilization in terminal decline. And the author of Tag the Sponsor, there's a quote from whoever this is, says, "Yes, this is real. I know a guy who is a model recruiter who gets paid to find girls who are basically willing to whore themselves out to rich Saudis with oil money. The Saudis pay anywhere from $10,000 as much as $50,000 per girl for each trip, which lasts anywhere from a weekend up to 2 weeks, and they basically, and this, I guess this was posted on a forum because the words are censored here. Weekend up to 2 weeks, and they basically blank the blank out of the girls multiple times a day with just about every fetish you could imagine, including censored and pooping and peeing on the girls. The Saudis take pride in pooping and peeing on the girls, and more often than not, they make personal bets and hold contests to see who can get the most liquidy poop to drop on the girls' faces. The winner gets to choose the next vacation spot and gets to pick his girls first." And these are the women, these models, Instagram models, bikini models, men are defending. With white girls are magic, and let's make a white baby. Let's make a depraved whore fruit. Let's bear depraved whore fruit. That's great. And this is what we're talking about. Allowing women to be your albatross, because women like this will be. You think these girls are just going to leave it at that, take their money, save it, and live the rest of their lives in comfort, not having to worry about paying bills again? Hell no. They're going to experience a decline in their physical attractiveness, and they're going to find some idiot who is starved for female attention, so starved that he will accept that attention from a woman that has had feces on her face, and she did that for money. And think about all the lesser forms of this we see. Remember that post we read a long time ago about the guy on Stormfront talking about how he dumped an Asian girl that he got along with for a fat, unpleasant white girl feminist who dumped him for not paying sufficient enough tribute to sodomites. Men, Japheth men in particular, they seem to be afflicted with this disease more than the other men. They completely lack the ability or the desire to place demands on the woman, to place a standard of behavior and hold that woman to it. Instead, the Japheth man, he acquiesces to her destructive whims and notions, which would not exist by any significant measure, nor would they manifest themselves if men grew a backbone, if he had a spine, a functional spine. But he doesn't. And that's why these women are on Instagram selling their dignity, selling their virtue to Saudi oil guys. Hey, they have a price tag. You can shit on my face for this amount of money. This is what they're saying. But you don't think this is a problem. You don't think whores are a problem. You don't think that women free of your influence fight tooth and nail for their right to get an abortion. You don't think it's a problem that you have a complete inability to earn a woman's loyalty. And look, I get it. The deck is stacked against you. $50,000 looks a lot more attractive to white nigger women than being loyal to a man. Being loyal to a man that has earned it. Look, I get it. It's hard. But this is what you get when you chase women that place a premium on the material above the spiritual. I get it. Unfortunately, these women are in far greater numbers than the inverse. It's another few dozen cuts in among the thousands that are causing us to bleed out and die. This is why the notion that we have one problem that we need to solve above all else annoys me. Because there are far too many to count. There are 90 episodes worth of problems here, documented here. And I'm about to document some more. And this is from Rock Insane Festival in France, I believe. And they posted this to their Facebook page. Being in total disagreement with Jesse Hughes' recent allegations given in an interview with American media, both Cabaret Vert and Rock Insane Festivals have decided to cancel the band's performance. We thank you for your understanding. Now, the band they're talking about is Eagles of Death Metal, and Jesse Hughes, the lead singer of that band, is talking to American media outlets, one of them being Tacky Magazine. He did an interview with Gavin McInnes talking about what he witnessed in the terrorist attack in Paris. And the venue he was performing at when these attacks took place killed 89 people in attendance. He required medical attention because he had teeth and bone fragments embedded in his face. And in the interview, he dares to make the connection between the security staff and the perpetrators of the attack. He said they were in on it. They allowed this. He also said that he saw people celebrating the attacks. And these attacks, I'm talking about the ones in Paris back in November. And how is he thanked for his perspective? He is betrayed by the victims of the attack. So what does that tell you about the state of the French psyche? And what does this say about the state of the British psyche? Only 2% of men aged 18 to 24 feel masculine. I'm going to find some other place other than Breitbart to read this for you. We'll just go to the YouGov. They're the ones that conducted this poll. Only 2% of young men feel completely masculine compared to 56 over 65s. Okay. Younger generations of British people don't see themselves as completely masculine or feminine, and masculinity tends to be seen as a negative word by young men. Oh, people that suck dick in public restrooms view masculinity as a bad word, and they don't view themselves as completely masculine for doing it? Oh, I'm so surprised. A nation with a burgeoning chemsex scene where 36-year-old men get 18-year-old Colombian rent boys and they do drugs with each other and they love each other. Their love is even better than your love. It's not just same love, it's better. No, I'm very shocked that young men, this is what they have to look up to. And this is how they view themselves. Not masculine. What else? Norway bill would allow kids to change official gender online without surgery, hormone treatment. No, that's the next step. They'll get free hormone treatments and surgeries, and it will be paid for by the Norwegian taxpayer, and I'm sure they'll be very happy to do that. What else? The Virtuous Pedophiles from Hypeline.org by Josh Ibarra. In a recent post by Salon, Todd Nickerson speaks about his struggle with pedophilia. He claims that he is not a monster, and that there is a difference between pedophiles and child molesters. Nickerson is now 43 and claims that he has never molested any child. In fact, he actively fights his attraction to children through the site Virtuous Pedophiles, named after the fact that it is a collection of pedophiles who do not act on their sexual attraction to children, but they act on it enough to call themselves virtuous. It's still within them, but they don't act on it. And they're like, look, you should praise me because I don't act on it. Well, that's a praiseworthy act, not molesting children. Like, oh, I don't molest children. You say that and people will look at you like you're fucking crazy. Where are we headed? Where this is a praiseworthy thing, like, oh, you don't molest children. Very good. Good for you. This is the problem with at least he doesn't do this. At least they don't do that. That's what you want your culture to be? You want to define yourself? You want to define your strength as at least? That's the baseline. At least you don't do this. There are really some things that sane people don't need to say. Sane people don't need to say, I don't molest kids. You just don't. It's given. That's not something civilized people do. We have reached the point, at least in some segments of the population, where it's no longer taken for granted that people refrain from molesting children. But what else does this say? All right, the second paragraph. If I'm being honest, my first response was complete and utter disgust. How can someone be sexually attracted to children? How can you want to be intimate with a child? They are the personification of innocence and naivety. Why would you want to corrupt that? That's when I actually started listening to what Todd was saying. Now, before you think I've been won over to the side of saying that pedophilia is normal, I have not been. Let us, however, take some time and actually think about this issue. Society as a whole has not been very good at being proactive in responding to societal issues that arise. Here we see a rare thing. There's a group of people who are coming together to acknowledge that their attraction and sexuality is corrupted and wrong. They're crying out for help. Right? They're crying out for help because they hate that they're attracted to children. Many of them are claiming that they want to seek help and begin a process of healing, but are afraid to do so. If they already agree with us, shouldn't we try to create an avenue for them to seek assistance? Instead, we are ostracizing them and insulting them with insults that they already think are true about themselves. If we don't create an avenue for assistance, then what are we going to see? Then what we are going to see is the social justice warriors hopping on the pedophile train. Not only will we see these people fight for pedophile rights, they will claim that pedophilia is just a normal sexual orientation and that they should be praised for feeling the way they do. Well, that has happened with other forms of sexual deviance. That has happened. But I remember watching a documentary, a Louis Theroux documentary. I think it was called A Place for Pedophiles. I'm going to look that up right now to see if I am right. A Place for Pedophiles, Louis Theroux. Yeah, I'm right. It was a documentary done for the BBC in 2009, and it was a Coalinga State Hospital, a hospital for pedophiles. Theroux was the first filmmaker to be allowed to film and interview the inmates at the hospital. So we already have a place for these people where they can get help and be removed from society all at once. And it's been a while since I've seen the documentary, but I do remember that some inmates receive chemical castrations. And this is a state hospital in Fresno County, California. I would actually like to see more government funding being taken away from social justice programs and put into mental health facilities. I think that is something that would be of some benefit. And it would be a proactive approach to removing child molesters from the population. We do need to remove these people from society. And I think that putting more funding into these kinds of hospitals, that's a good idea. How long are we in? 24 something, 24 minutes, some number of seconds. And I saved this because I don't want to give this too much attention. People making really stupid comments, but I'll read it. And I said I would, so I will. So I got this comment, and it starts like this. Don't confuse with the numinous with a religious impulse, as you call it. Satisfying the urge for the numinous with religion is the aberrant behavior, as it is and always will be the accepting of something on bad or no evidence. The only strange thing here is you and your obsession with other people's sexuality, a common thing amongst the faithful. People's intellect have very little, if anything, to do with their sexuality. That is just seen as such because the Bronze Age herdsmen, whose myth you seem to take as a guideline, were obsessed with lineage. Okay, numinous has a spiritual, or something numinous has a spiritual or religious quality. Are you seriously going to tell me that there's something inherently holy about methamphetamine, you fucking retard? Yet, despite lacking those qualities, these homosexuals into this chemsex bullshit, they treat it as such. They treat their sexuality as this great thing. They worship it. Our entire culture does. I am a social commentator. I comment on society, and this is what society is putting out there. This is what society considers worthy of our attention, worthy of our praise. Want me to read that thing I read at the beginning? You know what? I will. And it says, I'll just read the highlighted part. No longer a discrete entity, porn is woven into the fabric of the digital media assemblage. An integral part of our daily media consumption, sometimes more so than traditional sources. Every day, instant coffee in hand, I log into my dashboard and voluntarily submit myself to a sexual trance. Unblinking and mouth agape, I stare at an endless stream of beautiful men tenderly embracing and showing off their cocks, of assholes being pampered, probed, and kissed, of pulsating piston-like thrusting that I can almost feel inside my own body, and orgasmic facial close-ups of mouths so wide open I can practically hear them moaning in ecstasy. Now, you're telling me that I have the obsession with sexuality, and this person doesn't? This person's expressing a perfectly healthy impulse and not obsession? No, of course not. It's people like me with the problem. I'm the one with the problem. I'm the one who recognizes this dysfunction for what it is. No, but I'm the problem, right? You fuck. Use an awful lot of words to explain that we need some sort of absolute morality, which can only come from a source outside ourselves. Invoking an imaginary being to get your premise is a pretty weak suggestion. No morality is absolute, it never was, and hopefully it will never be so. Morality is innate in people. Religion gets its moral precepts from humans, not the other way around. The fact that you know enough to discard the biblical justification of, say, slavery proves this. You do realize that Moses set his people free. And I hope you realize that the Egyptian Empire, 80% of people that belonged to it were slaves. The Roman Empire, estimates somewhere around 70%. Do you realize the sociological impact that would have, setting all of everybody free at once because freedom? The concept of individuals owning their own labor is a pretty recent one. A recent one, ironically enough, invented and enforced by the empires within the jurisdiction of Christendom. And what did you say? What did you say? No morality is absolute. And then the line right below that, morality is innate in people. No morality is absolute. Morality is innate in people. And who put it there, you retard? You see, with people, we're not rational creatures, we're rationalizing creatures. Any stupid decision we make, we can rationalize it. We can rationalize it from every conceivable angle. We can trick ourselves into thinking the wrong we do is actually right. But you know what? It's still wrong. If it were right, we wouldn't have to go through all these mental gymnastics to justify it, as you're doing right now. You, the faithful in general, will talk around the subject, find all manners of excuses and alleged explanations to make their biblical view fit with reality and with their innate moral compass. That is you doing that, not some god or spirit. No, I'm doing the rationalization. I'm trying to rationalize my sin, which is what you're doing right now. Even biblical literalists will bullshit themselves into an aneurysm to make the two views fit. The only thing you manage to prove without much doubt is that religion is toxic to anything it touches. Is religion responsible for man's rebellion against the inherent order in creation? Please tell me what religion Norway is following, the religion that tells them it's okay to cause your child confusion, damaging confusion. It's okay to chop off their cock and balls and dress them up like a girl. That's fine. What religion says that? You tell me. Get back to me on that one. Where did I leave off here? It is worrying to the extreme that you don't understand that faith or of whatever kind needs to be kept out of social and political life. We do. I have countless hours of show. I have countless hours of material documenting what happens when we adopt secularism as our predominant worldview. AIDS, drug addiction, weed, dude, vaping meth. What else? Saudi oil tycoons shitting on the faces of women, and they're paying to do this. Secularism's working out really good. Omitting this leads to a theocracy. We had enough of those already. Religion has stultified the world for nearly 5,000 years, and it is the highest time that we let go of this infantile attempt to make ourselves feel better or safer. I don't know, I don't feel too much better about the world I live in since taking my religion more seriously. So save this, oh, religion's a crutch, it's just to make you feel better. Save that bullshit for whatever subreddit you crawled from. Between people not accepting evolution, which is just as powerfully stupid as not accepting gravity, is it? I don't know. I've known a lot of creationists. They have kids. They know how that whole thing works. They have a pretty functional understanding of human anatomy. Stupid and plain dumb people homeschooling their unfortunate kids, and a general hostility to science. Science, dude, science. The US managed just about to stay ahead of Russia on the PISA test for educational standards. That is 37th in the world. Yes, 37, no typo. Out of how many countries? That's still in the upper echelon. The US barely manages to beat Russia, a country desperately trying to recover from however many years of communism. That left a dent. Oh yeah, communism. Communism didn't like religion very much, did they? And look at all the great progress they made. And despite that massive setback communism is responsible for in Russia, they're doing pretty good. They're just behind America. And isn't it interesting that the Orthodox Church in Russia is on the rise? And I think it's interesting you blame low PISA test scores on homeschooling. I find that very interesting. Very few people in America homeschool. Most people are content to let the school districts that they live within, they're perfectly happy to let them raise their children. We love education in America. It helps us to avoid the horrible chore of raising children. What else? If any Republican faithnik starts bellyaching about making America great again, he should be punched in the face. The only way to make America great and put it back on the path to innovation is to get rid of this hostility towards reality and to put your money fair and square on education, not conditioning. Education is conditioning, you dumb fuck. You really think that education is happening in a gender studies class? Look, I'm educated. I have a degree in queer theory. I have a degree in being black. Now that's what I call innovative. That's what I call some good education. Oh, here's a good one from the same dipshit. Maybe the next Einstein is a black lesbian transgender woman in a wheelchair. And so what? America's best black students, the ones that get accepted into Ivy League schools, come from households that have two parents, a mom and a dad. These kids are not some sort of weird sexual deviant. In other words, they don't invest their energy in the axe they have to grind. This comment here, oh, maybe the next Einstein's black transgendered lesbian woman. This comment here shows your complete and irreparable obliviousness to human nature. You think that sex perverts put their energy into that which benefits humanity. The only thing they put their energy into is that which benefits their orgasm, or that which gives them social justice brownie points at grad school or their do-nothing government jobs. What else? It would be a crime to miss her insights just because a section of the population is too stupid to make a distinction between what matters and what doesn't. Funny that you talk about imaginary non-existent sky daddies You're hinging a whole argument on an imaginary black lesbian transgender woman Einstein in a wheelchair. Placing your hopes and faith in humans is your only choice. If you don't, what you have left are spirits, invisible sky daddies, and all manners of myths written by epileptic desert dwellers millennia ago. Yeah, and despite their epilepsy, despite the fact that they lived in the desert, they were able to write down and document this wisdom that has stood the test of time. Which is more than I can say for this comment. None of these authors knew anything about anything. A current 10-year-old from a mediocre school knows more about more than all of the authors of the Gospels put together. I don't know. We just read that. We read that headline about how kids think they can grow up to be black adults. White kids, they know a lot. No, they know a lot. None of the examples he cited mean anything in respect to a belief in myth being better than an adherence to reality. Are there weirdos? Yeah, sure. So what? Yeah, sure, so what? Why is it whenever it comes to debilitating dysfunctions, it's just like, oh, they're just weirdos, so what? As if their dysfunctions have no gravity. As if they don't affect anything around them. Compare that with cutting a part of the genitalia to conform a covenant with an imaginary being, and who is a weirdo now? I don't need to see a teenager's tits on a class photo either, but I don't feel threatened by it. Yet you do feel threatened by circumcision, which actually provided a function before proper sanitation facilities existed. What else does this comment say? We're almost done. And all these Swedes and Scandinavians you lambast are all miles better than American kids in about any subject you can name as far as education goes. If you want stupid behavior, go have a look when spring break is on in the US. And before you criticize the whole people, you do well to go and have a look at the place. You may be very surprised at what you find. See, this is an interesting comment because it tells you everything you need to know about the state of Swedish society. Remember that story we did about these groups of, I think they're like neo-Nazis or something, maybe not, maybe they're just ordinary nationalists. Regardless, they went out and beat up migrants in response to the massive amounts of rapes of Swedish women by North African immigrants. And how did the women respond to this? With a hashtag campaign. What was that hashtag called? What was that hashtag? No, hashtag not your women. We don't belong to you. We don't belong to you, Swedish men. If that's what your great education is producing, have it. Such educated women you have. They defend their rapists over their defenders. But hey, you know so much. You know more than those epileptic desert dwellers. Always nice to hear from you, enlightened, educated Northern Europeans. You aren't emblematic of a decline of an entire tribe. No, you aren't. You're not a living emblem of your own death. You're not the animated dead. You're doing really well. It's funny. These women will defend savages over you. Because these savages will actually place demands on these women, which is really what they crave. You think they want to be left alone? No, they don't. And that's why they're like, hashtag not your women. You think they want to lead your sorry ass around? Well, what did that emo song say? That song, the emo song back in 2006? She already has a pussy. She doesn't need another one. Reddit.com/r/commonfilth. Weekly question and comment thread. If you would like to participate, you may do so. Hello, CF. I'd like to know your opinion on this Facebook post I saw just a moment ago from someone I knew in high school. I probably don't need to tell you this, but her actual name is not Wes. Guess the race, by the way. Thank you for your time. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Well, then may the Lord bless you and keep you as well. So this Facebook post that Malik Null sent me. Hello, my name is Wes, and I want queer and gender-expansive folk. Gender-expansive. It's the first time I've heard that one. Gender-expansive folk to feel safe in church and know they are loved for who they are, God's kid. Not in spite of who they are, GSD. What? Sometimes you have to be your own role model, be the answer to your own prayers. In other words, I'm really itching to go to seminary. So what, be your own God? undermining the entire premise of Christianity that Jesus is God. And then comments, these enablers who think they're doing a loving thing, but really they're enabling. Love is code word for enabling self-destructive behaviors in 21st century parody world. They say to this confused, lost soul, do it, Wes. You would be awesome. Blessings on your journey, Wes. Christianity needs more leaders with a spirit like yours. What, a self-worshipping one? Sometimes you have to be your own role model to be the answer to your own prayers. Kill me. This is why I get very annoyed when people are like, oh, look what this Christian church is doing that you don't belong to. Look at what this branch of Christianity is doing. They're accepting trans and gay people. Look at Revelation. When it is said, they're not Jews, they're the synagogue of Satan. And the modern analog to this, these are not Christians, they're the church of Satan. You see it right here. Be your own role model. Be the answer to your own prayers. How is that any different from Satanism? How is that any different from any sort of autotheistic form of expression? These people worship their own confusion, their own deception, and they place it before God. They place it before Christ. Does that violate a few rules? I think it does. Will you spend your Bandcamp shekels on a 23andMe? The answer to this one is no. Because I'm not going to deal with the accusations of, oh, it's a forgery. There are people out there, very sad people out there that think I'm mestizo. Because I make jokes about being white Hispanic. There are people out there who are that angry at me over the things I say about their the thing they worship, the tribe they worship, the tribe they view as beyond reproach and perfect. It only makes sense to them that I criticize whites because I'm a spick. That's the only way it makes sense to them, so that's what they go with. And when that 23andMe reveals that I am not, they'll just say you made it up. I have thought of getting one for my own personal amusement, but I'd be paying for a piece of paper that says, oh, you're 100% European. Gee, thanks, didn't know that. Next. Hey, CF regular Serb here. Sex roulette parties. One person secretly HIV allowed. Oh, good. Yeah, a lot of people have been sending me that. Didn't you people watch The Gift? You know, where the infamous standard fuck party meme came from? Yeah, they talk about that. We're like, oh, everybody but one will have it, only one person will have it, and nobody will know. Yeah, sex roulette parties where one person is secretly HIV positive and nobody is allowed to use condoms are on the rise. Parties usually attended by gay men who enjoy the thrill of not knowing. Yeah, this was all covered in the documentary called The Gift, which I think was released in 2003, but I'm not sure. But you could look it up, The Gift HIV documentary. You find it on various websites. And also, apparently, our government passed a stealth law where the age of consent in Serbia is 14 as well. Just 2 years ago, it was 18, and nobody knows about this. Nuke Serbia before it gets worse. I am against euthanasia, but mercy killing is sometimes required. Have a good one. Yeah, I thought Eastern Europe would be okay, but a lot of conflicting reports about that. It seems as though many Serbians are suffering that first death that so many Japheth people are. Maybe Russia comes and saves the day when they expand their empire, maybe. I'm not counting on that happening, but it's upsetting. And then you had a response here. As the elders of Serbia pass, the next generation will be paused. As an HIV positive. It's general. Paused is a word for general cultural and societal decay. At least from my experience, this is coming from a Serb who visits yearly. I don't know. These teenagers and young adults are drinking and smoking. One of my father's friends' daughter got pregnant, and she is 19. Thankfully, she is committed to raising it, but it was an accidental pregnancy. I pray for the future of our country. And I also pray for it, even though I'm not a Serbian. But I have said that I make videos for Serbian people, so I can't back down from that. I believe I already I read that last week. I read that comment last episode. And I do realize that I said this is another question comment thread for Common Filth Radio episode 89. This is actually for 90, so My mistake. I can't edit thread titles. What's more of a human right? Pause load flavored Gatorade or alpha homo crystal meth? I'm not answering this. I'm not getting into a no-win situation here. Edit, you know what? I'm going to add a real question here. I don't know if you've talked about this before, but I want to get your current opinion on something I've mulled over. The West-East and a belief in second chances / redemption. I feel the belief in giving people second chances and finding the good enough in people to forgive them is a Christian ideal that shaped the West and is the reason why our air is still breathable. Until med-resistant MRSA AIDS become airborne or something. And why we empathize and take pity on each other for our failures and give each other reassurance. Maybe this is the so-called pathological altruism that's tossed around as a term. Jumping over to Asia, we find a civilization with technological advancement on a level equal to probably surpassing our own, but it comes at a grave cost. Failure in the school, the workplace, and life in general is grounds for suicide, or at least removal from society by way of neatdom. It's a culture of advancement at all costs. What's your inputs in your filth? Asians fit within my theory of the 3 Old Testament tribes, Noah's sons. And most Asians belong to the Hamite people, which I get it. I'm about to get made fun of. We was Asians. The first blacks was Chinese, or the first Chinese was blacks, all that Afrocentric stuff. But Asians are another people, I think, in general, have not had a true civilization of their own. A lot of what they do, a lot of their technological advancement is predicated on plagiarism. The Japanese might be an exception to this, but the trajectory of their civilization seems to follow that of white people, unfortunately. The only difference is that they never had Jesus to turn away from. So Asians in general, Orientals in general, however you want to refer to them, I don't think have had a true civilization as we know it. A lot of what they do, like I said, is bootlegged. It's plagiarized. So, and I read something, in a few decades, China is on track to become the world's most Christian nation. So that is something to keep in mind. Hey, CF, what's your opinion on this gender terrorist? Oh, I don't know. My pronouns are not preferred. Ask a gender terrorist. Oh, didn't I do an episode on that a while back? Gender terrorism. I did look at that hashtag and, I don't know. I usually don't listen to YouTube videos when I'm recording. Oh no, this creature, this hairy creature, I think it's a dude, has a safety pin through his nose. And painted nails and all sorts of pagan finger tattoos. You know what? I've seen enough. I know what's coming. Hey CF, I apologize for my last post. I think maybe my question was unclear. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. What I meant to ask was, what do you want for white people as a whole? In your ideal world in the future, what do you want for all of us? What would it take for you to be content with the state of our race? I've followed you for a while now and have noticed that you're more focused on solutions for the individual than the collective. While I am indeed sorry to pester you, I do look up to you as a guide and I'm curious to hear what your goal is for whites as a race. Thank you for all you do. Well, don't look up to me, look to your Bible. And I will let that be the answer for my question. What your poop says about you for serious, Mama Natural. 3.5 million views. There's more than that. 3.565 billion views. What your poop says about you. Why are people so obsessed with... And this comes after I found... I was at the movies. I'll start there. And you know how they have movies, at the movies they have advertisements before it starts? They had one for Honey Made graham crackers, and their ad campaign, their slogan is, "This is wholesome." And this commercial in particular wasn't terribly offensive. It was just like a white family with an adopted mulatto kid. Not that bad, but then I remembered, oh yeah, this is the company that's telling me that two sodomites adopting children is wholesome. So I found that commercial on YouTube, has like 8 million views, and it had over 40,000 likes compared to 2,000 dislikes. And people tell me, you're obsessed. Oh, so what if there's weirdos? You're obsessed. Blah, blah. Let's slow down here. Over 8 million views for this commercial lying about the nature of this abomination. And the overwhelming majority of people that view it like it. And let's go back even further from there. The people that made this commercial, all of the actors, the parents of the child that allowed their baby to be kissed on by these disease vectors. Who knows? Maybe it was their adopted kid, and that's even more disturbing. But there's more. All of the crew, all of the cinematographers, all of the people holding microphones, all the people saying, okay, we need this lighting and that lighting, we need this for wardrobe, all of the people involved with it. The people in that company's marketing department saying this is the kind of ad we want to run. And people say that I'm too fixated on it. Look at the gatekeepers of your culture and what they value. I'm merely telling you why it's wrong. Like I said, who occupies the top of our social hierarchy? You're allowed to criticize Jews as long as they're like, well, Israel's an apartheid state. You could do that. But you can't criticize homosexuals. You can't criticize transsexuals. You can't. And every day, somewhere I see, they're just, why do you hate them? Not all. I don't hate anybody. You childish moron. Every day I see golden retriever girls, heroes of the white race, talking about how manly the Romans and Spartans and samurais were because they sodomized each other. I live in a culture that values sodomite rights above all else. I live in a culture that views the rainbow flag, raising it on high, pride parades. I live in a culture that views that as its greatest accomplishment. And I grieve this fact every day, that we are wasting the gift of life on that which gives none. And that graham cracker commercial that everybody loves, that's just one bit of it. Every time. It's almost on every video. I say, I got a pro-LGBT video for an ad before your video started. On almost everything I upload, I get a comment like that. And I could turn on the TV, I see ads for IKEA with girls telling each other, happy anniversary. Now you tell me what kind of magical white girl would agree to take that kind of role. And you convince me how she is a worthy custodian of civilization. Tell me what she's doing right. Tell me what great tomorrow she's helping to bring. No, go ahead. I'll wait. Hello, CF. I have a question, maybe more, but I'll start it with a story that's relevant. Okay, so since I was a small child, my mom sold drugs. It's a good place to begin a story. She's claimed to only sell marijuana, but I've seen her buy and sell painkillers and other things like that. Keep in mind, she's been finding a new boyfriend once every 3 to 4 years, so I'm the second of her 3 children, all having different fathers. So now we fast forward to the present where I'm showing these same symptoms. I haven't been able to stay away from weed, dude. I talked to you about that on a previous episode. For the life of me, until about 5 minutes ago when I flushed any personal supply I had down the toilet. I have her same rotting teeth, same set tendency to commit advanced levels of degeneracy, and same terrible taste in friends. Every time I look at her and then look in the mirror, a quote comes to mind. A good tree cannot bring rotten fruit, and a rotten tree cannot bring good fruit. Does this mean I'm predestined to be a degenerate? Was I meant to be the living reminder of what happens when you commit sin? Or is this all a big case of fuck you, Mom? I remember on multiple occasions you said that some people were born to lose, so maybe I am one of those cases. Thanks for all the knowledge and spiritual revival. You're probably a better authority figure than anyone I've met so far. P.S. The new Death Grips album is fire. Well, this is a very bummer comment. This is a big bummer of a comment. But I'll try to lighten things up. The fact that you took the time to write this, and to put it so eloquently and so honestly, you have a chance. You realize what is wrong. You realize who is dysfunctional. You realize that you come from dysfunction, but that can be fixed. You said there was 5 minutes between what you did, flushing all your drugs, and writing this comment. Look, it's going to take some time to get better friends. It's going to take time to unlearn bad habits, but you're on your way. And don't stop. Don't stop improving yourself. The fact that you have gone out of your way to listen to what I do and write this comment and engage in some self-reflection means that you have a chance. You're not one of these people born to lose. You're not one of these people that exists only as a negative example to others. So keep that in mind. You have a lot more agency than a lot of people do. And yeah, I did like the new Death Grips album. I'm not going to go into a full review here, but I did enjoy it. So, hey CF, do you like Kanye West? I don't mean as a person, but for his music. If so, what's your favorite Kanye album? I've only listened to one Kanye album. I think it was Yeezus. I thought it was okay, but hold on. Speaking of Kanye as a person, this was on the Drudge Report. I had this article ready that I'm about to read for this particular comment. This comes from thesun.co.uk by Caroline Iggulden. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Inside the weird world of Kanye West, Minder reveals how rapper is world's biggest diva. Staff must never speak to Kim, as in Kim Kardashian, his wife. Stop talking when Kanye walks by and never ask which floor in a lift. Kanye West calls himself the world's greatest living artist, but his former bodyguard says the rapper is more like the planet's biggest diva. He is so pampered he refuses to press his own lift buttons, and such a control freak that he bans staff from wearing anything but plain black clothing. His ex-minder, tough former New York cop Steve Stanolis, I don't know, explained, I was told patterns distract him. Tantrum-throwing dad of 2, West, 38, is also said to be so possessive of wife Kim Kardashian that he banned Steve from talking to her, then sacked him after seeing the pair together in a corridor. Shell-shocked Steve, 42, whose other clients have included Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire, said, I had to look after his toddler daughter once, and it was so much easier than babysitting the father. I've been employed by a lot of high-end people, but I've never worked for someone like him. He's 10 times worse than what you see. You just never knew what would trigger a meltdown. Steve spoke to The Sun as the showbiz world reeled from West's latest megalomaniacal public rant. He appeared on a U.S. chat show on Thursday and declared, I have ideas that can make the human race's existence within our 100 years better, period. The singer also seemed to compare himself to Picasso, Walt Disney, and Steve Jobs. Bodyguard Steve's tales of West's hobby wobblies. What? I can't keep up with this British stuff. His wobblies are just jaw-dropping. He said on the first day we headed to his music studio, when we got into the elevator, Kanye just stood there with his arms folded and said, aren't you going to press the button? Kanye never ever apologizes. I told him, I've never been here. I don't know which floor. He flipped out, squealing that his time was precious and that he couldn't believe I hadn't called ahead to find out which floor he worked on. I explained, we have 3 buttons. You tell me the floor and I press the button, you press the button, or we stand here. Eventually he told me and I pressed the button. Kanye never ever apologizes. I was going to talk about this, why anybody would want to be famous. Some people are not equipped for fame. This person here, Kanye West, is clearly not one of them. For example, in the episode where I talked about penis envy of Tumblristas, proving how prevalent it is, I found so many of these girls who are talking about how they want to be a boy so that they could sodomize a member of One Direction. Think about that. You're a famous person, and a sizable chunk of your fan base are girls who want to sodomize you. I think I'd be a little bit crazy too, but maybe those guys in that group, they do a little bit better. with the fame. They deal with it a little bit better. Kanye West, however, maybe he doesn't have girls like that in his fan base, but who knows? And we know that the wages of sin is death, but this guy, he's living a pretty messed up life. He wouldn't behave like this. He wouldn't treat his fellow man like this if he were doing the right things for the right reasons. He's living a life that causes him paranoia and guilt. What is he doing to cause that? To cause those feelings within himself? He is not doing good. That much I know. Then there is his rule against his security entourage wearing anything but black. Steve recalled there was a new security guard, and on his first day he wore red-colored sneakers and Kanye didn't like it at all. The guy also touched Kanye's shoulder while guiding him through paparazzi into his car. Even though the bodyguard was just doing his job, Kanye turned around and snapped, "Don't you ever touch me." Within 2 hours, I got a call to say the guy had been sacked. And Steve said it was almost impossible to predict what would set off the vocalist, producer, and fashion designer, who is said to be worth £100 million. Steve continued, "He got annoyed because I got in his shot once when the paparazzi were taking pictures. He absolutely adores the attention. On another occasion when we were in the studio, he walked past a couple of his other bodyguards as they were chatting, and then turned and demanded, 'Can you two not talk when I walk by you?' This person needs to be admitted into a mental health facility. The Kanye West needs some serious help." Steve once found himself tailing west through the streets of Manhattan late at night in his own family car after one of the star's drops. He said, "I was on my way into work and I got a call to say Kanye had stormed out of the studio after yet another row with someone and asking could I go find him. I discovered him walking down the side of a busy highway and went to pick him up. But before getting in, the singer tried to insist Dad of 3 Steve remove the child seats in the back so he could sit there instead. It seems he only deigns to sit in the front of a car if he's driving himself." I just don't understand. Next, say CF, you should read this article and the comments. It's not extremely long and it has a great logical appeal to sexual restraint. This is from ethicapolitica.org. And those are all with K's. I'll try to remember to link to all this stuff, but sometimes it gets to be too much. Okay, so this is by Bob Burkett on Civilizations and Sex, August 19, 2014. Henry Ford once famously said, "History is bunk." As the inventor of the assembly line and the Model T automobile, Ford's name is inseparable from the ideal of technological advancement as the driver of human progress. For those who hail modern scientific progress and advancement as a hallmark of a more intelligent, forward-thinking generation, Ford's words are dogma. One of the most impactful changes wrought by high-tech advances is shift in societal views of sexuality. Traditional sexual mores have been dismissed as outdated, especially in an age of artificial contraception and abortifacients that disassociate procreation from a fundamentally life-giving act. Society has reduced sex to a pleasurable pursuit, and as a result, sexual promiscuity and libertinism are increasingly common. Progressives praise the sexual revolution as a period of enlightenment, whereby now people can freely engage in the pleasures of sex, divested of its biological consequences. Even today, the sexual revolution is viewed by some people of all generations as an unquestionably good nexus of beliefs and actions. So is the tradition of sexual morality, in the words of Henry Ford, bunk? Oxford-educated anthropologist J.D. Unwin tangentially addressed this question in Sex and Culture, an evaluation of the sexual practices and morality of 86 different cultures. Unwin's impetus for the project was to test the Freudian theory that civilizational progress was the product of repressed sexuality. This theory of sublimated sexuality states that natural impulses and desires require energy to fulfill, and that this energy, though finite, is fungible. Unwin divided the collective energy of human beings into 2 categories, expansive and productive. Activities like exploring territory, conquest, colonization, and commerce were deemed expansive. Productive activities designated an advancement within society or a societal flourishing, such as the development of algebra or the power to harness electricity. Thus, the sexual energy of human beings could be redirected towards other aspects of civilizational advancement, such as technological progress, art, architecture, or conquering other peoples. To anticipate an objection, it is worth noting that although Freudian theory has many shortcomings, one can't blindly overlook the validity of certain aspects of his theories, sexual sublimation being one of them. After careful evaluation, a variety of civilizations, including the Romans, Greeks, Sumerians, Moors, Babylonians, and Anglo-Saxons, a clear pattern emerged for Unwin. A perfect correlation between sexual fidelity and civilizational flourishing. Unwin found that discipline in sexual matters appropriated social energy to more civilizational ends, validating Freudian sublimation on a societal level. Unwin remarks, "The evidence that in the past a class has risen to a position of political dominance because of its great energy, and that at the period of its rising, its sexual regulations have always been strict. It has retained its energy and dominated the society so long as its sexual regulations have demanded both prenuptial and postnuptial continence. I know of no exception to these rules." This goes to that retard who's like, maybe it'll be, who cares if they're a weirdo? So what? Weirdos are regressive. Your definition of a weirdo. See, I think weirdos are just people who are slightly off and not completely lost. You know, some weirdos are good people. And the way, your definition of a weirdo, no weirdos are good people. So, fuck you. I hope you're still listening. Just so I could say that. Screw you. You're a retard. You're a moron. Leave. Go away. Quit listening now. But what exactly were those strict sexual attitudes and regulations that contributed to societal flourishing? Answer: heterosexual monogamy. For Unwin, the fabric of society was primarily sexual, and heterosexual monogamy was the optimal arrangement for planning, building, protecting, and nurturing the family. If enough heterosexual partners made a monogamous commitment, civilizational energy was directed towards promoting the firmest societal foundation possible, the family. Unfortunately, each civilization allowed its success to alter its moral code and actions because we're blinded by our own successes. We worship them. We make false idols out of our success. And that seems to be the fate of all civilizations. You think you're too smart for morality. Like, Black Einstein, who's transgender, lesbian, and in a wheelchair. That guy. Oh, I'm sorry, gender non-specific individual. Excuse me. Though each civilization's success correlated with strict sexual ethics, attitude towards sex became increasingly liberalized and loosened. The consequences of the myth that sexual activity and its impacts could be confined to the private sphere soon became apparent. Premarital, extramarital, and homosexual relationships proliferated, and individuals began placing their individual desires over the common good. An increase in promiscuity corresponded to a subsequent decrease in the social energy required for civilizational maintenance and innovation. Ultimately, each civilization became less cohesive, less aggressive, and less resolute. Civilizations in this liminal phase then collapsed from either 1, an internal anarchic revolution, or 2, conquest by invaders with greater social energy. There you go. And now you know why ISIS is having its way with Europe. So, everybody who gets, it's in poor taste that he said that France is this because of that. Imagine my middle finger up right now. Imagine it. I'm not on camera, but imagine it. Everybody who ever doubted me, there you go. Despite the differences between civilizational cultures, environments, and time periods, Unwin saw a clear civilizational cycle throughout. These societies lived in different geographical environments. They belonged to different racial stocks, but the history of their marriage customs is the same. Oh, but there's no universal morality. Different moralities, they bear the same fruit. There's no such thing as universal morality. Interesting that people that follow a specific moral template, good things generally happen for them. In the beginning, each society had the same ideas in regard to sexual regulations, and the same struggles took place. The same sentiments were expressed. The same changes were made, the same results ensued. Each society reduced its sexual opportunity to a minimum, and displaying great social energy, flourished greatly. Then it extended its sexual opportunity, its energy decreased and faded away. The one outstanding feature of the whole story is its unrelieved monogamy. It is no secret that America is the current world superpower, and the increasingly liberalized attitude towards sex in our nation parallel those of the 86 civilizations during their periods of decline. Is this not a huge part of what I do? Is this a sentiment not being proven? As I speak right here, I'm glad this exists because this is far more eloquent than I could be. And I will remember to link to this because this is excellent. Thank you to Tantra Tomato who sent this to me. Thank you very much. Thank you. It is also true that American society has achieved an unprecedented amount of scientific and technological progress, and that many would argue that American progress has cast aside ancient notions of the importance of sexual propriety. Unwin's research identified this attitude as a salient opinion in each of the preceding societies as well. And he said, convinced that the cultural process is a progressive development and that our own culture is the most developed of all cultures, we assume that every change in our cultural condition is evidence of a higher cultural development. And then the article continues. The American idea being the most advanced of human civilizations is one more example of the unrelieved monotony. Unwin identified when uncovering social patterns. Over 5,000 years of human history argue for the prevalence of the same mentality in all of these extinct civilizations, and not one of them has managed to break the cycle. But universal morality doesn't exist. No, it's all relative to the time you live in and the place you live in. It's all relative, isn't it? Well, we're almost done here. We're gonna finish up. One can choose to see Unwin's work as the foretelling of a doomed American civilization, or merely a historical continuity that Americans will overcome because of technological and scientific progress. And this goes out to all the idiots that think like, ooh, these places are sexually deviant and they just don't have demographic problems. Fucking retards. Whatever the case, the importance of sexual morality in everyday life should not be overlooked due to its strong correlation with civilizational flourishing. Sexual restraint and ethics are not products of an ancient past that progress can suddenly replace. They are arguably the linchpin of all the technological and scientific progress of today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for sending me this. Thank you so much to this individual, Bob Burkett, for writing this. People need to look at this and not be like, well, Rome did it. Rome did it for 700 years. Tradition. All right, thank you. That is really what I want to say whenever I deal with the story of the deleterious consequences of sexual deviancy. But hey, it doesn't affect you, right? Doesn't affect you, don't judge. Not all. There you go. So let's see if I really enjoy your show. I have been a fan for a long time. Thank you. I even made a Reddit account just to ask you a question. I'm at university at the moment and I am studying nursing. What do you think of the profession? Any opinions? God bless. I hope you have a wonderful day. God bless you as well, and I have nothing against the nursing profession. I hear it is pretty competitive, but if you can do it, it is a skill that society requires. It's something that will continue to be viable in the future, and yeah, nothing against it. You are learning a valuable skill, and best of luck to you in your studies. I see you have a good job on last episode. It was edifying as always. I wanted to comment on spiritual but not religious issue, and you were spot on. The first time I heard this addressed was by the monk Thomas Merton, who said in our modern times, it has become apparent that your religion is whatever you put so much energy, time, and trust in. People who don't claim to be religious obsess over things like acquiring money, some celebrities' personal life, their race, their ideologies, and other things. I've thus suspected that the entire spiritual but not religious idea came about when there's just so many religions you could be into, and trying to accept that every one of them is valid out of fear that there will be conflicts from disagreements, all at the price of honestly seeking out the truth. I'd say this is cowardly, don't you think? Yeah. Now, if we're real Christians, we have to be honest and just say plainly that Christianity can only be the true religion because we have to choose one if all religions are right. Then why do they disagree with each other? If it's all about human interpretation of these religions that make them disagree, then outside human opinion based on what is written, why is Jesus Christ the only one who claims to be the only begotten Son of God? That is, proclaim his divinity and prove this thoroughly. You'd either have to believe him or think he's a liar, or that he's crazy, right? Why would men and women throughout history of Christianity die for his sake if they're all in on some joke or elaborate hoax or con they're pulling on everyone else for the last 2,000 years? Not 200. And then we have the Christians who hate religion but believe in Jesus Christ. If you truly believe in Christ, then you would believe that he established one church and trained men within 3 years in preparation for something. He promised that he will not abandon those in it, and that it will not be destroyed even if in the end only 2 people are left. How could it be that these people profess faith in Jesus Christ but have so much despair from what inevitable corruption there is from an organization comprised of sinners? You can see it time and time again, even the holiest person can fall out of grace. And I guess that gives validity to St. Paul's instruction for us to work out our salvation in fear and trembling. Philippians 2:12. That's an excellent point, and we can use that point not only for people who claim to, pass, oh, Jesus is fine, but, his fan club. We don't worship his fan club. We don't worship other Christians. And anytime somebody tries to get under my skin, sending me a message about, oh, look, these Christian people adopted 3 black babies. Or, oh, look at this transgender claiming to be a Christian. As if those 2 things are even close to being in the same realm, but regardless, their criticism is not of Christ, it's of those who claim to be Christians. And I'll say this, I don't really care if white people adopt black children. I know somebody, and I'm not going to get into too much detail here, but I know somebody who's not white who was adopted by white people, and thank God that happened. Such a horrible thing that black babies, black infants are adopted by a mother and a father and not a couple of dandies cosplaying as heterosexuals, or single mom, the dad skips out or whatever. It's ridiculous to say that that's a bad thing, that 3 black infants are going to grow up in a household with a mother and a father. But regardless of how I feel about that, it's not Christ. Christ never gave specific instructions, oh, chop off your penis and testicles. Never said that. And that's who we're listening to. We're not listening to members of the modern day synagogue of Satan. So save it. You can talk with your friends on Steam about how stupid Christ cucks are. You save it for them. ACF, I'm a new listener and have been enjoying both your radio shows and Tumblrista videos. I have a quick question. How do you cleanse your palate, so to speak, after researching and exposing yourself to degeneracy for hours on end? Do you participate in any activities, or do you have any rituals so that you don't lose your sanity? Thanks, and God bless. Well, the most important thing is to get out of the house. And I will let you in on a little secret here. I don't spend all week actively preparing for the things I upload to this channel. I might come across some articles on Drudge Report. Some people might send them to me on Twitter, but a lot of the time I'm not actively looking for this stuff. 90% of what I talk about, it finds me. And the 10% that I do go out and look for, I save that 1 day a week. 1 day a week for like an hour or 2 or 3 at most. I will go on Tumblr or Twitter or Facebook or Reddit and document this stuff and think of funny things to say, cool edits I could do. So I limit my exposure. I don't do it every day. I could, but that would be very, very bad for me. I have a personal life. I have friends. I have relationships that I get fulfillment from. and that keeps me steady. I don't talk too much about it because my mission here is to not talk about my personal life, the fun things I do, or the adventures I go on. I very seldom talk about that stuff because it's not the time, it's not the place. So, I keep saying that's how I do it. I see if I got some new questions for you. This time it will be a few questions. Before I get into them, I just want to say that episode of Child Molesters being 1488 is very disturbing, and how far people will go to abandon decency just for demographics. And he is referring to episode 21 of Common Filth Extra. I knew you'd do an episode of it. It had to happen. Number 1, can a guy who smokes a little weed, faps a little, and has a very slight interest into male aesthetics transform into a meth-slamming pause pig that is into every fetish and is married to a dog and a child? That's a little too much there, buddy. I need water. I'm getting a little dry throat. Have you found a guy that makes fun of your name, like calling you cuck, faggot, or something similar? Look, I did an episode on detractors. That's Common Filth Extra, episode 22, I think it is. Let me check, because I might be getting it wrong. I really hope I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Alright. I don't focus on it. There's really not much to be gained from listening to people who hate you just for some minor disagreement. Why the fuck are people worshipping memes now? I understand that on this day and age, people try to replace God with something, but have we got to that point of unironically worshipping memes? It seems so. And I did receive an email. I have to give credit where it is due. Those meme screenshots came from an email from our listener, which I don't think I'm going to have time to get to, so I apologize. Those screenshots did come from a concerned listener, and I will read them on the next show if I don't have the time to do it now. I've been slacking off on the emails, I understand, but I only have finite time to do this. So yeah, it's a regular listener, loyal listener of mine who I appreciate very much. They contributed that, so there you go. And yeah, they claim it's a joke, but they get very angry when you say you don't seem like you're joking. You're putting in a lot of effort into your jokes for them to be just jokes. They get very angry when you say that, when you suggest that they aren't. So, have you played the Shin Megami Tensei series or some other niche RPG game out there? If so, what are your thoughts on it? Not that one specifically. I'm trying to think. What video games have I played when I was real into that? I like the Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance games, but as far as Japanese games go, I think Pokemon is like the one I spent the most time on in terms of RPGs, so niche RPG games. So yeah, I play video games. I have played video games. I don't remember them very well. 5. What is the Grecian model? Or is that something that is better not knowing? Well, it looks like somebody didn't buy Tumblr Raw Volume 4. This is basically justifying abominations. It's somebody saying, like, the Grecian model is the best for the white race. It doesn't take that much imagination to figure out. And finally, hey CF, how do you cope with the cognitive dissonance that you hate the Jews while also worshipping a Jew? Who said I hate the Jews? Do I think the Jews that wrote the Old Testament are bad people? No, they were good people. They knew a lot. They had a lot of wisdom. Listen more, type less, and God help you. All right, I am I'm out of time here. Got to cut it a little bit short, but I more than made up for it with an extra long episode of Common Filth Extra, which I encourage you to check out. It is only $1. It's very good. You're going to like it. And if you haven't yet experienced any of my Bandcamp material, it's 50% off if you buy the entire discography, and you get every episode of Common Filth Extra. You get all of Tumblr Raw, volumes 1 through 4. Those are video collections. Films, if you want to call them that. But yeah, those are actually videos. The downloads come with a bonus file, and they have all the videos for every episode on Tumbleristas Raw Volume 1 through 4. You also get Common Filth Radio, the best of 2014 and the best of 2015, which include material, unreleased on my YouTube channel, that is. You get material on those, never seen anywhere else, never heard anywhere else, rather. And yeah, great deal, 50% off right now, and take advantage. So with all that being said, take care of yourselves, be good to each other, and I will talk to you soon.
Grown, ain't I? The skinny nigga with the fro to the slightly bigger nigga who's a killer with the flow. Went from YouTube beats and SoundCloud, nigga. The only difference now is that I found Twitter. Fuck it, it's struggle rap, man. They never see the trouble that I'm going through. The way I sing, they think I live in bubble wrap. Fuck all that, even though I'm on some poppin' shit. With my niggas as my witness, I'm a nigga who can spit. Don't believe me? Overlooking my potential, I'm that poet to a phone, that poet was to a pencil. My mental is similar to that of a lion, and I'm the king of